Everything dies. Stars explode into cosmic dust. Planets cool into lifeless rocks. Mountains crumble into sand. Your body, despite all its complexity, all its wonder, will one day return to the elements it came from. Even the universe itself moves slowly toward its final breath. This is the most fundamental pattern in existence, the cycle of creation and destruction, a dance as old as reality itself. We understand this in nature. We accept it. We even find beauty in autumn leaves falling, in the way a forest fire clears the way for new growth, in how death feeds life in an endless cycle. But something strange happens when we look at our own creations, our civilizations, our systems, our empires. Suddenly, we forget the pattern. We look at our cities reaching toward the sky, our networks spanning the globe, our accumulated knowledge, and we think we've somehow transcended nature's cycle, that we've built something permanent, something eternal. The Romans thought the same. Standing in their marble forums, they called their empire eternal. Now those forums are ruins, silent witnesses to the pattern they refuse to see. Consider a butterfly's wings stirring the air in Beijing. That tiny disturbance, amplified through the chaotic dance of our atmosphere, becomes a storm in New York. Each beat of those delicate wings sends ripples through the air. Most dissolve into nothing. But sometimes, in ways we can never predict, they grow, combine, amplify, until something as fragile as a butterfly's wing can shatter the equilibrium of an entire system. There's something beautiful and terrifying in this truth. The same interconnections that make our world rich and wonderful make it impossible to control. The same complexity that gives life its beauty makes it inevitably fragile. Our civilization is no different. We've built our own coral reef of staggering complexity. Each connection, each interdependency, each layer of sophistication makes it more beautiful, more impressive, more seemingly permanent, and more fragile. We tell ourselves we can manage this complexity, that with enough data, enough algorithms, enough understanding, we can prevent the butterfly's wings from creating the storm. But this is the grandest illusion of all. Every civilization before us believed the same thing. The Mayans built systems to track the stars and predict the rains. The Romans created networks of roads and laws to bind their empire together. The Byzantines crafted a bureaucracy so sophisticated it became synonymous with complexity itself. Each of them thought they had finally solved the puzzle. Each of them believed they could control the uncontrollable. There's a profound sadness in this pattern, not just in the fall, but in our persistent belief that we can somehow escape it. Like watching someone you love repeat the same mistake, knowing you can't prevent their pain, knowing it's part of who they are. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. What if our inability to prevent collapse isn't a failure of understanding? What if it's not about making our systems better, more resilient, more controlled? What if collapse itself is the point? Think about how nature handles complexity. An old forest doesn't just keep growing endlessly. It grows until it becomes too dense, too interconnected, too perfect. Then fire comes, or disease, or storm, and from the ashes something new emerges. Not better, not worse, just different. New forms, new combinations, new possibilities that couldn't exist within the old system. This is the secret that every fallen civilization whispers to us through their ruins. Collapse isn't the end of the story, it's part of the story, a necessary part. The part we desperately try to avoid, but without which there can be no renewal. Each collapse in human history has been followed by an explosion of new possibilities. The Bronze Age collapse gave birth to the classical world. The fall of Rome seeded the Renaissance. The collapse of medieval certainties opened the door to the scientific revolution. There's something profound in accepting this pattern, something liberating, like accepting that autumn must come, that the leaves must fall, that death is not an ending, but a transformation. So here we stand, at what might be the peak of the most complex civilization humanity has ever built. Our systems span the globe. Our networks connect billions. Our technology reaches toward the stars. We've created something magnificent, something beautiful, something so complex it has taken on a life of its own. And yes, it will collapse, not because we failed, not because we weren't smart enough or didn't try hard enough. It will collapse because that's what complex systems do, because that's how new forms are born, because that's how the story has always gone and will always go. The only choice we have, the only real choice we've ever had, is whether to see this pattern for what it is, whether to understand that our greatest achievement isn't building something that lasts forever. It's building something that makes beautiful ruins. So yes, everything dies, stars, mountains, empires, and our civilization will too. But in that death lies the only form of immortality complex systems can achieve, the eternal cycle of creation, destruction, and renewal. The only question is, will we face this truth? Or will we, like the Romans before us, remain blind to the pattern until it's too late to understand it?